But the shining hope and beauty of Book 5 was Boy Dog. I absolutely adored books 1 through 3 in the John Cleaver series. But books 4, 5, 6, just less good. Like, don't get me wrong, I still loved reading books 4, 5, and 6. They were definitely enjoyable, well-written, well-paced books. But after my experience with 1 through 3, where I couldn't even really think of anything I disliked about them, 4, 5, 6 have been a disappointment. And so this review is pretty negative in a lot of the points that I bring up, but let me preface this by saying all these negative points just shows how much I care about these books. Because I already talked about the fantastic parts of this series in my reviews for books 1, 2, 3, so now we're going to explore some of the letdowns of these books, and some of the good parts of these books, but mostly the letdowns. So, yeah, hope you enjoy this. Full spoilers, full steam ahead. Let's kick it off by a positive change. So, books 1, 2, 3, definitely young adult, and I loved that John felt like a stupid teenager. It just felt so real for him to be making such bad decisions. But then in books 4, 5, 6, he's matured into more of an adult. Still a dumb teenager, but he's gotten a lot of maturity under his belt at that point, and I kind of liked the shift. It was just done well to shift the series from, like, young adult to more of a new adult vibe. And one of the things that book 4 did fantastically was it delved into a thematic question of kind of who deserves to die, who is really the good guys, and who is really the bad guys. Because so far John has been demon killer, woo! And then he meets a good demon, and then it's like, wait a minute, do all demons deserve to die? If I'm out killing demons, how is that super different from killing people if there are some good demons out there and maybe I'm a bad person for killing, and what is good and bad here? And I do love that the series decided to go there and really question kind of its own premise almost, that John is the hero by being the serial killer of monsters. But he's still kind of a serial killer, so... And that's kind of one of the things that I love about this series, that it does go dark, but not in a really depressing way. Until we get to book 4, and then there is depressing ways, and Because in book 4, John kind of has his two foils. There's Elijah, who is the withered demon, who is trying to be a good guy, and then there's Potash, who is Mr. Special Ops Assassin, I've killed more people than you've ever met, also working to kill the demons. And they both reflect John in different ways, that with Potash, John sees someone who is also a killer, who's also working on the side of the angels. But then with the demon, he sees someone who has bad instincts, who is trying to do good. And I loved all of John's interactions with both of those characters in this book, because you could see John internalizing it and thinking, is this the person I want to be? And how am I similar to these people? And what is in store for them? What do they deserve? Because what these people deserve is probably also what I deserve. And I had such high hopes for both the characters of Potash and Elijah. Especially Potash, though, because John and Potash are on the same kill squad, and then they have to buddy up and stay together at all times for their own protection, and I was so hopeful that Potash would become some sort of father figure to John, because, like, duh, he needs some sort of cool father figure. Here comes Mr. Special Ops Assassin guy, who does seem to have some sort of caring about what John is doing and how he thinks, and is trying to earn John's respect, and I was like, yes, this relationship is so interesting, because John is also terrified of Potash because he's a scary dude. Which just made it even more annoying when everyone died. Elijah, Potash, everyone on the team. Sorry, spoilers. But because all my hopes were for John to make awesome relationships with these characters and to be able to learn something about himself. And he did. But then the characters died. And I was just so mad. Because why? And because the thing that I really loved in books 1 through 3, like my favorite moments in those books, was when John was interacting with people that cared about him, because those relationships were like, the sweetest part of the book, the part that I cared the most about. So then, book 4, John gets a whole new team of FBI hit squatters to bond with, and they were all really interesting and honestly well done characters, and then they just all die before John can really form a good relationship with any of them. And so my hopes were dashed. I did not like the ending of book 4 and was disappointed by it, even though overall book 4 is a good book. I have a lot of feelings about it, okay? Like, I'm fine with sad endings. I'm not complaining. Well, I am complaining. But my problem with the ending isn't just that everyone died. Because I'm not upset. This is really hard to talk about. I am okay with having a sad ending to a book. I'm okay with, like, a lot of characters dying. I don't think that makes it a bad book. But what I don't like is endings that don't, like, work with the thematic resonance of these tales. Because book 4 was asking an important question. Who are the good guys? And can John be one of them? And how does all the team getting murdered serve that narrative? It didn't. I feel like a good tragedy is tragic because of the hero's downfall, because of this, because of that. But this book, it just kind of felt like tragedy for sadness' sake, not tragedy for a thematic fun element's sake. And so it bothered me. I mean, on another note, book 4 did end in a place that book 5 could pick up with really easily to give a good arc and plot for John in book 5. So in that case, this was a pretty functional ending as a setup for book 5. But I think as an ending to book 4, it just left me so unsatisfied. Now, points to book 5, its sad ending did kind of fit thematically, and I did love the emotional conflict of book 5 because we have John and we have Brooke and also their beautiful dog, boy dog, on the road killing withered demons. Fun, right? And the main emotional conflict between Brooke and John is that they both kind of love each other and want to be in a relationship, especially Brooke. But John is afraid that if they get into a romantic relationship, he'll end up hurting her even more. And honestly, kind of fair worry. And another part of that conflict is John is worried that Brooke can't really provide informed romantic consent because she's at the level of mental instability where she can't really take care of herself, which is probably around the same level of mental instability, which makes you not be able to provide informed consent. So all the concerns are valid, but still, I was shipping them and hoping that they would get together because I thought it would be better for both of their lives and I was excited for it, but it was still such a juicy conflict to see John wrestling with his inner desires of keeping her safe and being with her romantically. And the ending where John decided to let go of Brooke and go off on his own, bittersweet, but it did tie into the plot for which I was grateful. The only thing I wish with that plot is they would have taken it further because it was definitely part of the conflict, but they didn't take it all the way to the end where they tried out anything romantic, which I would have enjoyed. Another thing I didn't like around book 5 was John being almost superhero levels of good at killing withered demons. Like, I understand that's a little bit of like one of his character qualities, but at the point where he's like incredibly competent at killing, I'm a little bit like, that seems less realistic at this point. Like, you almost have a magical ability at this point to kill demons. Like, you never lose. But the shining hope and beauty of book 5 was Boy Dog, their dog, who went with them everywhere. And I loved seeing John going from begrudgingly accepting this abandoned dog in book 4 through book 5, where it's like, this is my dog, and I'm taking care of him, and you can tell in his heart John loves him. Which made it even sadder at the end of book 5, when John lost Boy Dog and Brooke, and went off on his own, to go on the adventure of book 6, all alone. Okay, quick discussion on the ending of book 6. This is the ending that ended happily, and yet I still didn't like it. Hear me out here. So after John lost pretty much all of his friends in books 4 and 5, I was kind of done with the series emotionally, because his relationships with his friends and family were my favorite part. So I didn't even really want to read book 6, but I had hope that he would gain new friends and book 6 could be fantastic because I still was really enjoying reading these books. And book 6 was good for a lot of reasons. John did get new friends. And then, in the end of the book, John helps to redeem a demon to the light side with the power of friendship. And I think in abstract, this totally works with the series, with where it's been going, especially with books 4, 5, and 6, where it's really been wondering of who is redeemable, what is okay, what is good, what is bad, are all these withered demon folks inherently evil? And what does it mean for John, who has a bunch of evil instincts and chooses to be good? So, I think in the big picture, I like the idea of John being able to help a demon rehabilitate themselves and stop murdering people, etc. Because that also shows how far John has come, that he can help someone else out of that pit of darkness as well. However, the ending just got on my nerves so much because it felt so unrealistic. Because the demon that was redeemed wasn't like the one who had had good leanings for a long time and then finally just needed the push over the edge. Like, no, this was the same demon who was orchestrating the deaths of innocent people for the entirety of book 6. She was all steam ahead on the murdering business. And even worse, she was murdering people in order to motivate their friends and family to be desperate enough to accept becoming demons themselves. So this is the one withered that has the power to make more withereds, and she is motivated enough to do this that she's willing to orchestrate deaths. And then, in the course of literally one conversation, John convinces her to stop and surrender, and then even, like, the FBI guy is like, well, as long as John stays to watch you to make sure you don't murder anyone. No! There are some of the demons that you could have redeemed in this way. Would have bought it. With her? No. She is really struggling with that conscience thing, 1. 2, I think she's too dangerous to be left alive because she has the power to make more of them, which is just gonna make more problems. Also, she's immortal. Like, kill her while you have the chance. So on a thematic level, this ending could have totally worked. On a logical level, this ending drove me insane. It's like all the characters just lost their marbles at the end of the book in order to be fine with this situation. Anyway, but these books are really well written. And I love them a lot, and I'm glad I read them. But I do have a lot of complaints and thoughts and feelings because they weren't quite as good as books 1, 2, 3. Now I gotta go watch the movie for these books. I'm pretty excited.